Okay, we are just going to start the show. It is the world famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. No intro music, no nothing. Just got to start the show, kids. Get a hold of us online at jiggyjaguar.com. And we are going to go to our first guest. This is going to be a very entertaining interview. This will be very, very, very entertaining. So we are going to go to our first guest. He is going to join us here via the magic of Skype. And we have got our first guest, I believe, joining us here on our big program. And this is going to be probably one of the funnest interviews that I will do all frickin' day long today. And how are you, sir?
Doing all right. What's happening?
We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us here on our big broadcast. And this is one of the coolest things that I have ever seen. An all-metal tribute to the Bee Gees and more. It is going to be live in New York City. They are also going to be all over the United States. And they have a brand new album, and it is called Tragedy, an all-metal tribute to the Bee Gees and beyond. And we have got one of the performers from this show on our program today. Go ahead and give us a brief introduction on yourself, my friend. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Royce Peterson of the band Tragedy, all metal tribute to the Bee Gees and beyond. We are the number one metal tribute to the Bee Gees and beyond in the tri-state area, and really the world, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, the competition isn't that great. So,
That's awesome. At least
we're pretty damn awesome.
At least you're a good sport about the whole thing, brother.
Whole concept. The concept is like 80s hair metal meets 70s disco, and it's they compete with each other, but they love on each other, and it ends up being a big orgy of color and music and other things.
I think it's amazing. I think it is amazing, amazing. Tragedy with us today. How did you get into this band?
It all started as a joke. Honestly, that's kind of a what most people would say kind of a bad idea. It was really just the concept. Like, what if we did metal versions of Bee Gees songs? Like, we were offered some shows.
That is awesome.
At every plaza in New York City. And the promoter knew us as musicians, and he was like, hey, what could you guys come up with that would be interesting for this? And we talked about it, and we came up with the idea, and we're like, well, that's ridiculous. And then we started actually working on the music. We're like, oh man, this is really cool. And then we played our first show. We made demos, and we got even more gigs before our first gig. Our very first thing we played was at BB King's in Times Square. It was sold out audience. We walk out to sold out audience. We were opening for the Aquabats, and it was like immediately we looked so fabulous. We're very shiny. And, we're all bulging out in all the right places. And so, we get people's attention before we even play a note. And then to see people start to understand, like, oh, I know this song. And we hit the chorus of Night Fever, and people's minds are blown. And people are smiling and dancing and hugging and kissing. And that was 13 years ago, I think. I think we're coming up on 13 years.
Wow. I think this is the coolest concept. And I just am amazed by the fact that you guys have been around for so long, and you've put together such a cool idea here. How has this changed and shaped over the years?
Well, when we started off, we were doing only the Bee Gees disco hits. That's what the first album is. And then we got to the second album, and we're like, oh, we can try. The Bee Gees have this amazing catalog before and after disco.
Yes.
And we're like, oh, well, let's hit a bunch of those, like To Love Somebody and Nights on Broadway. Well, Nights on Broadway is kind of disco. But then, stuff they did with Barbra Streisand. And then we're like, what if we also did some other disco songs? So I think we played around with like Donna Summer and, some of the big disco hits, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, that's really kind of what connects. Like that seems to be the main theme, more than just the Bee Gees. And then the band took on this whole other kind of personality unto itself.
Yeah.
So now, like, we've been traveling internationally, been playing in UK for the last 11 years, I think.
Wow.
And started playing in Europe, Canada, and we have, I forget how many studio albums we have out now, something like 8. But basically anything that's not, hard rock or metal to begin with is fair game for us. But the whole idea is that it has to be something soft and gooey or decidedly not metal. And then we have to, our job is to turn it into metal.
I think it's great. And you can get more information. letsmaketragedyhappen.com. That is the official website. Go over and check that out today. They are going to be in a lot of different cities around the country. Saturday, February 19th, they'll be in Brooklyn at the Knitting Factory. April 8th, they're going to be in Millersville, Pennsylvania at Phantom Power, which sounds like the perfect venue name for your band to play. April 9th, they're going to be in New Jersey, of all places. And Rochester, New Hampshire, April 16th. Albany, New York, April 22nd. It's a Friday. And then Saturday, April 23rd in Syracuse. And then Cambridge, Massachusetts, April 29th. So I notice these dates are kind of spread out. Some of them are not, like you'll be in Albany and then Syracuse back-to-back nights. What is the staging and production like for this whole thing? Because I've seen videos, I've seen your performances online. This looks like you guys have a huge production behind you.
We the band in and of itself is a huge production. We can play a small stage in a small venue, and we still act like we're playing in a coliseum. So, wherever we're playing in our minds, we are playing in front of 20,000 people, which we've done in festivals. And it's but we go to some smaller stage and we just bring it, and the energy is always fantastic.
It is quite the spectacle, I'll have to say. You guys put a lot of time and effort into this whole thing. What's been some of the feedback that you guys have gotten over the years?
Well, it was funny when we started. We were doing these support gigs, mostly in New York, but kind of in the area here, and we were like going out for anything that was kind of a big support gig. Like we'd want to play to 500,000 people, right?
Yeah.
And we played with such a variety of artists. Like Aquabats was our first, and then playing with group Super Diamond and Humphreys McGee, a jam band, and then we played with Murphy's Law, it's a total hardcore band. And it was so funny, like every once in a while you'd hear some hate coming from the audience, when we were a support band, but we would just use it, we'd turn it back around on them and we'd have a great time with it. But one of my early memories is, we played with Murphy's Law, kind of a skinhead band, and And not long after that, I was at a bar in Brooklyn, and these guys walk over to me, and they have the look, you know, the suspenders, the wife beaters, shaved heads, and they kind of stomp over my table, like looking at me, and they're like, "You in tragedy?" And wait, wait, do I have to be clean? I
You
have
can
to
go
ask
ahead
you.
and say whatever you want. The
Okay.
stations that don't
So
like it will dump
I'm
out.
just let me quote the guys. So they walk over to the table, they're staring me down. I'm like, oh my god. And you in tragedy? I'm like, yeah. He's like, we fucking love you guys.
That is fantastic.
That's the way it is. It's like, you know, like anybody who's ever been to any concert in the last 10 years is gonna love tragedy because there's something there that is beautiful and unique, and you just can't help but open your heart to it.
I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. So, with these shows, you're going to be in New York, New Hampshire, Connecticut, New Jersey. Uh, where do you guys get the biggest reaction? What states and kind of places around the country do you guys get the most reaction to the music and everything?
Well, we've been most diligent about touring in the UK, of anywhere in the world. Like, you know, we've done some touring in Europe, not a lot of touring across the US. Kind of been sticking, we're from New York City, so we kind of been between DC and Boston, you know, along the eastern seaboard here. The reaction is great whenever we're in front of an audience. I mean, people can't help but enjoy themselves. But in the UK, it's been really special because we've been doing national tours there for 10, 11 years, something like that. And the fan base is they're just really nuts about it. They really get it culturally. They get the whole Bee Gees thing and the whole metal thing and disco and all that, and whatever comedy we're doing on stage too, which is all has to be changed when we're in other parts of Europe where English is a second language. Um, but yeah, it's amazing. Like we have people there, a lot of people actually with tattoos of our faces on their bodies and our band logos, and people are just they're pretty mental about tragedy over there.
That's awesome. Now, Disco Balls to the Wall is quite an interesting piece of business. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so that's our first album on Napalm Records. It's really our first like widely released, like worldwide release. Our first album had a release in the UK and Japan, and then since then we've been self-released. But so yeah, we signed with Napalm Records about a year ago,
Yep.
and for the first album we put out kind of a greatest hits. That's what Disco Balls to the Wall is. It's some remixed stuff and some. I think there's 3 or 4 brand new recordings of some of our favorites too. And now we're working on a second album with Napalm. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, after this tour wraps up, what are you guys planning on doing?
well, we're spending a lot of time in the recording studio. Uh, you know, we don't write these songs exactly, but we have to rewrite them. And so it's actually, before this band, I was never in a tribute band, a cover band, or anything.
Yeah.
Like I was a songwriter. I wrote my own music, and it's so similar to doing that. It is almost like we start with the writing process, even though these songs are already written. But we hope to be doing more touring in the U.S. Hopefully at the UK this year. Europe, Europe and Australia, we were supposed to be hitting this year and last year, and all this stuff keeps getting postponed there.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to utilize this time to grow more and meet more people and make tragedy happen more here in North America.
Well, I'll tell you, you guys have quite the deal here, and I am just honored and privileged to chat with you today, my friend. Before we let you go, the website's letsmaketragedyhappen.com. I'm assuming you can buy tickets off the website for the shows that you have coming up.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. Just go to our website, and there are links for tickets there. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for doing this, brother. This has been a honor and a privilege. Thanks for making this happen today. I know that you're busy out there getting things ready to go for these shows and everything, but thanks for making time for me today. I appreciate it, brother.
Man. It's a pleasure to talk to you and your audience.
Definitely. Well, I will talk to you soon. Have yourself a wonderful day, brother.
All right. Cheers.
Thank
buddy.
you, man. There he goes. And quite the deal. I am. This is great. I love what these guys are doing. And if you want to get more information, you can do so. Go over to jiggyjaguar.com and also check out their website, letsmaketragedyhappen.com. And we are going to take a time out. And when we come back, we have got more coming up on the other side.